I want you to picture something for a second. You're in a shop, maybe a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
You tap your card, you hear that little beep, and you get that slip of paper, the receipt. You look at the bottom line, it says total $4.50.
Right.
And in that moment, it feels, well, it feels completely definitive, doesn't it?
It feels like the end of the story. You paid, you got the coffee, the transaction is over.
Exactly, a clean loop. But today, we are going to completely dismantle that feeling. We're looking at a set of ideas that suggest the number on that receipt is actually, well, kind of a lie.
Or at least it's a story with the most important chapter completely ripped out.
That is a perfect way to put it. We are diving into a concept that economists call externalities.
And I know that word sounds incredibly dry. It sounds like something from a lecture hall with bad lighting.
It really does. It sounds like dust. But the source material we're covering today, the hidden costs of externalities, it frames it so differently. It argues that this isn't about charts and graphs. It's actually a story about relationships. It's about how our private little deals reach out and touch people who never signed up for them.
It's the story of the invisible consequences, the things that happen off stage.
Right. The text uses this phrase that really stuck with me, life beyond the receipt.
I like that.
And so our mission for this deep dive is pretty specific. We want to find those invisible price tags on everyday life. We want to understand why the price we pay isn't always the honest cost.
And honestly, once you see this mechanism, once you see how these hidden costs actually work, you just can't unsee it.
No.
It changes how you look at a factory or a garden or even your commute. It fundamentally shifts how you perceive value.
So let's unpack this. To explain this huge concept, the source material shrinks the entire global economy down to like 3 people.
Yeah, it's almost like a little stage play. It's a very useful simplification.
Okay, so who's in the cast?
First, we have Sean.
Sean is our producer. He's the business owner making the thing, trying to turn a profit.
Right. Then we have the client. This is your buyer, the person at the counter.
Right.
And usually we think the economy is just a conversation between those two.
Supply and demand, a simple deal.
Exactly. But then there's the third wheel.
Annie.
Annie. And Annie is the key to this whole thing. She is the third party.
And she's not buying anything, not selling anything. She's just there.
Completely outside the deal.
Yeah.
And the source has this really dramatic line about her.
Oh, yeah. The third is not extra, but a victim, which sounds a little intense.
It does, but it sets the tone. She's just passing by, reading a book in her living room. She has no say in the deal.
And this is the core definition, right?
Yeah.
The consequences of the deal between Sean and his client. They fly in, as the text says, and hit Annie.
Fly in. It's like a stray baseball coming over the fence.
That's a great analogy.
An externality is when you get hit by the baseball, but you weren't even playing the game.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. The source walks us through 2 main scenarios. The first one is the bad news, the negative externality.
Right. And it involves Sean, a factory, and some lemonade.
So let's set the scene. Sean is producing lemonade. That's his business. He's got a factory.
And Annie, our third party, lives right next door.
Okay, so Sean is cranking out the lemonade. Business is good. But the factory has a smokestack.
And that smokestack is pumping smoke, directly into Annie's open windows.
This is the bill for smoke the text talks about.
Huh?
And I want to pause here because it seems obvious. Pollution is bad. We get that.
Of course.
But the economic argument is a little more subtle, isn't it? It's not just smoke is bad. It's really about an accounting error.
Precisely. It's a failure of calculation. When Sean sits down to figure out his costs for a bottle of lemonade, what is he writing down?
Well, the source says he's looking at his raw materials. So sugar, water, the bottles.
Exactly. The electricity for the mixer. He adds all that up, and that's his private cost.
But he's leaving something huge out.
He is leaving out the spoiled air. Annie is coughing, her curtains are getting grimy, maybe her health is suffering, and she has to buy an inhaler.
That is a real cost, a physical cost. Annie's clean air is being used up to make that lemonade.
But does it show up on Sean's spreadsheet?
No. It's totally invisible to him.
And because he doesn't have to pay for it, he doesn't factor it in. And this leads to the big realization. Because Sean ignores that cost to Annie, what happens to the price of his lemonade?
It ends up being too low.
It's sold too cheaply.
Boingo! The receipt is a lie. It says, this costs $2. But the real cost to society, if you add the sugar, the water, and the damage to Annie's lungs, it might be $3 or $4.
Right.
So I can hear someone thinking, okay, but wait, why is cheap lemonade a problem? I'm the client. I love cheap lemonade.
And that's the trap. As a consumer, you love it in the moment, but look at the result. Because the price is artificially low, because it's basically subsidized by Annie's poor health, what do people do?
They buy more of it.
Way more of it than they would if they had to pay the honest price.
Oh, I see. If it was $4, the real cost, maybe I'd only buy one bottle a week. But at $2, I'm buying a six-pack.
Exactly. You overconsume.
Mm.
And because you buy a six-pack, Sean ramps up production. He makes even more smoke.
So the market ends up producing too many harmful things.
That is the core insight. When you have a negative externality, the market sends the wrong signal. It screams, make more, when it should be whispering, hey, slow down. This is actually really expensive.
It's fascinating. It's not that Sean is some evil villain. It's that his calculator is broken. He's just missing a variable.
He's operating on incomplete data. He thinks he's being efficient, but he's just pushing the cost onto Annie.
Okay, so that's the dark side. But the source material then flips the whole thing around. There's another side to this which I found really surprising.
The positive externality.
Or the free beauty.
I love this example because people usually hear market failure and think of, toxic waste. But this shows that markets can also fail by preventing good things from happening.
So we're back to Sean and Annie. But this time, no factory.
No factory.
Yeah.
He's planting a garden, a chic garden, as the text puts it, right under Annie's windows.
Okay. So Sean goes out, buys the seeds, the fertilizer. He does all the work. It's his time, his money.
And Annie, she wakes up, opens those same windows, and what does she get?
The view, the smell of the flowers. For free.
She pays Sean nothing for that experience. It's another fly-in effect, but this time it's a good one. She's a free rider.
It feels weird to call a beautiful garden a problem.
But from an economic standpoint, it's a problem of incentives. Think about it. Sean is providing a service to Annie, the view, the nice smells, but he gets $0 for it.
Right.
So when Sean is deciding whether to expand his garden, maybe plant some expensive roses or add a bench, he looks at his own costs and his own benefits. He sees zero revenue coming from Annie's enjoyment.
So he might just decide, nah, it's too expensive. He doesn't plant the roses.
Exactly. Even though the total benefit to the world, his happiness, play less Annie's happiness, might be huge, Sean only acts based on his part of the equation.
So because he isn't compensated for the good he's doing,
he does less of it. The market produces too few useful, beautiful things.
That's the exact reverse of the lemonade factory.
It is. With the smoke, the market produces too much bad stuff because the cost is hidden. With the garden, the market produces too little good stuff because the benefit is hidden.
That is actually kind of tragic, to think of all the wonderful things that could exist but don't, just because the Sean in the situation can't capture the value.
It's a tragedy of lost potential. The market is great at counting money that changes hands. It is terrible at counting joy that just floats in through a window.
So we have a diagnosis. The price tag is broken. It's lying.
The data is incomplete.
So how do we fix it? If the price is lying, how do we force it to tell the truth?
Well, the source gives us three main ways to sort of patch this bug in the system.
Okay, let's start with the big one. Solution A.
Taxes. Specifically, what they call Pigouvian taxes.
After Arthur Pigou, I'm guessing?
You got it. The idea is to manually fix Sean's broken calculator. Remember, he ignored the smoke because it was free for him to produce.
Right.
So the government steps in and says, okay, Sean, from now on, you have to pay a tax for every cubic meter of smoke that leaves that pipe.
They put a price tag on the pollution itself.
Exactly. They force him to internalize the externality. That's the jargon. So now, when Sean calculates his costs, it's sugar plus water plus the taxes.
So his total cost goes up?
The cost goes up. And because of that, the price for the client goes up.
And as we said before, if the price goes up,
people buy less lemonade. Production shrinks. The smoke decreases. The price becomes more honest.
it's an interesting way to think about taxes, not just as the government taking money, but as an information tool, a way to make a price tell the truth.
That's the ideal, yeah. You're not trying to punish Sean. You're trying to make him pay the full cost of doing business.
Okay, so that handles the smoke. What about the garden? You can't tax a garden into existence.
No, that would be the wrong move entirely. For the garden, you do the exact opposite. Solution B, subsidies.
So you pay Sean.
Essentially, yeah. The community, maybe the city council, says, hey, Sean, that garden is great for the neighborhood. Property values are up. People are happier. We want more of that. So they give him a grant.
A tax break, maybe?
Right. They're paying him for the positive effect he was previously giving away for free.
And the goal there is to change his incentive.
Yes. So now when he's thinking about those expensive roses, he says, well, they cost $100, but the city's giving me 50. You know what? Okay, I'll do it.
The subsidy bridges the gap. It helps the market produce more of the good thing.
It creates a stimulus where there wasn't one.
Okay, so taxes and subsidies. Both of those feel very top-down. They need a government, a city, someone with a law book to step in.
They do. And they assume that regulator knows exactly how much to tax or subsidize, which is a big assumption.
Right. But the source material offers a third way, one that seems a bit more cooperative.
Solution C negotiations. This is based on what's called the Coase theorem.
Break that down for us. How does that work without a regulator?
The idea is that maybe Sean and Annie can just sort this out themselves. If property rights are clear, they can make a deal.
Okay, so in the smoke scenario, what does that look like?
Well, let's say Annie legally has the right to clean air. She can go to Sean and say, look, your smoke is harming me. I'm going to sue you.
Unless you install a filter on that smokestack.
For instance, or unless you pay me for the damage. But the text mentions this other really counterintuitive idea.
What if Sean has the right to pollute?
This is where it gets really interesting. Let's say the smoke causes $1,000 of damage to Annie, but a filter for the factory only costs $500.
So installing the filter is the most efficient outcome. It saves society $500.
Exactly. But if Sean doesn't have to, he won't. So Annie might actually go to Sean and say, I will pay you $500 to install that filter.
Wait, she pays him? She's the victim coughing and she has to pay? That sounds unjust.
It feels unjust, I totally agree. But from a purely economic efficiency standpoint, the problem gets solved. The filter gets installed. The smoke stops. The best outcome is achieved without a new law or tax.
I see. It's about getting to the most efficient result, no matter who writes the check.
And it could work the other way. Sean could pay Annie. He could say, look, I need to operate. I'll pay you $500 a month to compensate you for the inconvenience.
So they just find a middle ground.
As long as negotiating isn't too difficult or expensive, they should be able to find a solution.
It's fascinating because all three of these solutions, taxes, subsidies, negotiations, they all have the same goal.
They do.
They are all trying to drag the invisible Annie onto the receipt.
That is a perfect way to say it. The goal is to make the visible economy, the dollars and cents, match the actual reality of what's happening to people.
It really makes you see the world differently. You walk down the street, you see a factory, and you think, okay, who's paying the hidden bill for that noise?
Or you see a beautiful public garden, and you think, is the person maintaining this getting the credit they deserve? It turns you into a detective of value.
So we've gone from the lemonade factory to the flower garden. We've seen how Sean's simple math fails and how Annie ends up paying the price or getting a free benefit.
And we've seen that we're not helpless. We have tools to fix it. We can tax the bad, subsidize the good, or just let people talk it out.
But it all comes back to that receipt.
Yes.
We want that price to be simple. We want it to be the final word.
But the big picture takeaway here is that simple is often wrong. In a world this connected, no transaction is ever really an island.
Every deal has a Sean, and often somewhere in the background, an invisible Annie.
And if we ignore her, we end up with a world full of smoke and not enough gardens.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Something to, chew on the next time you tap your card.
We've talked about how to fix the price with big policies. But what about our awareness as individuals?
Right. If we never account for the Annie in our own equations, if we only look at what comes out of our bank account, are we ever truly paying the right price for anything?
Or are we just letting someone else pick up the tab while we look the other way?
A little something to think about while you're in the checkout line.
Indeed. It forces you to ask, who else is involved in this purchase I'm making?
That's it for this deep dive into the hidden costs of everything. Thanks for exploring the invisible economy with us.
It's always a pleasure to look beyond the receipt.
See you next time.